Hello students, this is Elizabeth Hale and I am going to do a quick screencast to help you through assignment number 1 since we kind of ran out of time last week a little bit. I do appreciate some of you trying to do it, and I'm hoping that after this maybe you will just try again, since I think some of you did not quite grasp the sizing concept, or sized them correctly, I should say more clearly. So to get on with it, I am going to open up some of those original JPEGs that you were given. I have put them on a folder in I put them on my desktop because my desktop is nice and clean. And these are all the original JPEGs. And you can see I've already processed a lot of them, but I'm just going to show you how to do that. So I'm going to open up the first one on the list. And I open it up through Photoshop. I'm going to make my window nice and big so you guys can now see it. And what I first do is I go to Command Option I, or if you can't remember that, it's you go up to the top menu where it's Image to Image Size. And what you want to do, all you have to do for this assignment is very simple. You're simply going to make sure there's no check mark next to resample, and you're going to change whatever the resolution says, you're going to change it to 300. And I want you to notice what happens as we change the resolution and go up in resolution. So I'm going to just type in 300. Notice the image got awfully small, right? So this means that this image can only be placed in our InDesign document at 100%, so that's about 1.5 inches by about 1 inch. So pretty tiny. So anyway, we're going to say OK, and then what I do is I save as, because I want to have, this one has been changed its resolution, and you can just put your cursor towards the end, however you want to do this, and I just add the number 300. I'm going to change the format to Photoshop, so it is now, if I look over there, it is, it is changed to a .psd, which you guys should know this from Intro to Adobe. A .psd is a native Photoshop file. I think it would be smart to make a new folder, calling it the 300 images of Coachella. However however your mind works, I just want to instill in you some organization. So I'm going to say create, and I'm going to say save, and then all I do to close it down is either hit the little black X up here in the tab, or even easier, Command or Control W to close it up. I'm going to now open up a new file. So I'm going to go back to my original JPEGs, and I'm going to open up the next one, and I'm opening that up, Command Option I. This one is already at 300. Cool. You don't have to do anything, but what I want you to notice is it is a larger size, so you don't have to do a thing to this one, except for maybe save it as a PSD, which really you don't have to for this assignment, but it might be simpler for you to just save it as into that 300 folder. So I'm going to say OK. I'm going to save as. I'm being a little bit crazy here, but just so that you know that if it has the number 300 on it, maybe you have to put a dash there, and you're going to find your folder that says 300 Coachella or whatever you've called it. You're going to save those in there, and you're going to say OK. Now I'm not going to go through all of them because that's the simplest thing. In other words, you're not changing the physical size of this at all, of any of these. You are simply changing the resolution. And all you have to remember is that when you're changing the resolution, you make sure that that resample check mark is not there. No check, okay? All right, so I'm going to now close out of Photoshop. I'm going to assume that all 15 images have been done. I'm clicking on to InDesign. I think you guys have probably figured out how to make a new document. It's very simple. Control or Command N. You're going to make it 8.5, you want to make sure it's inches first, then 8.5 by 11. We're only doing one page. That's all you have to do. I've already set it up here. I have put my rulers on. See the rulers up at the top and on the left-hand side? They're a kind of a great way of starting to design, and I suggest you put them on. If they are distracting, you can always you can turn them on or off by going to Command or Control R, and you just can toggle through them like that. Now, okay, what we want to do is we want to get an idea of all of those images and what are those sizes. Now, you know, you could have written down every single size when you checked them, or let me show you a pretty simple way. So I am going to zoom out a little bit. So I'm going to Command or Control minus. And notice all the space around your page. That's called the pasteboard. And this is non-printing, but you can use it to kind of hold things for a while. And in this case, I'm going to use it to kind of, I'm going to actually place every single one of our images, our 300 images, and I'm going to just put them in at 100% so that I get a sense of the size and know that they can't go any bigger than that. So let me show you how to do that. I'm going to go to Control or Command D, D for dog, to place my images. Now notice I'm navigating to my organized files. You can see I made a folder for assignment 1. The JPEGs were the originals, and then I made a separate folder that are all named 300. And I'm just going to grab one, say open, and then all I do is I just click. I'm not going to do any dragging or pulling or anything. If you just click, it will place that image at its 100% size. Now, if you look up on my cursor, right up here where I'm making a big circle, it says 100% and 100%. That is the scale of the actual image within the frame. Those numbers should always be the same numbers, and in this case, you never want to go above 100%. So now I'm going to click, I've just clicked away from that image to deselect it. I'm going to go to Command O or Control O. I'm going to go to the next image. What have I done? Oh, I did a dumb thing. See, I just blew it as a teacher. I just went to open a file, and instead you want to go to Command or Control D for dog, place. And I'm going to go to the second image, and I'm going to say open, and I'm going to click it. So notice it's a much, much bigger image. So we can go down in size with this one, but this little guy, this little one of those two entertainers, you cannot. So I'm going to continue to do this. So Command or Control D. I'm going to the next one, which I've kind of changed the title a little bit. Oops. And what happens sometimes, and that's what just happened here, is that I had that previous image selected. And because it was selected, it got replaced with this Ariana image. Not a problem. Just go to Control or Command Z, and it loads back up, as you can see on my cursor, and I can just click. So again, this is a much smaller image, and I'm just moving them around with my black arrow tool just to get them out of the way. But what I'm doing is I'm getting a sense of how big things are. So Command Control D, place. I'm going to the next one, which I've changed the name of to just black pink, and I did it again. This is what tends to happen. That's okay. It's just a Command Z to undo it. Click. So that's another really small image. So I'm going to put it over here just for my own brain. I'm now going to click out of everything this time. Command Control D. I'm going to go to this next one. I'm going to click on it. And again, it doesn't matter if it didn't click the first time, just do it again. It doesn't matter where you're putting them because you can just move them around. None of this is going to print. And this is just kind of like having your scrapbook open so that you know what every size is, and it gives you a really good idea of how to do it. I'm going to go again to place, and I think it's this one. Click. So that's another small one. You know, just for my brain, I might put all the small ones on the left side and all the bigger ones on this side. I don't know, doesn't really matter. Command D or Control D to place another one. Oops, but I did it again. Unclick. To unclick, all you do is click away. I'm going too fast and I'm forgetting to do that. So Control Command D to place. And was it this one? Is that the one we just got? No, it's this one. I'm going to say place. That one's a kind of a medium-sized shot. And again, they can overlap. You're getting the sense of the size. That's the whole point of this. I'm going to place another one. And what I'd like is that you can always see the preview in your place window. So you get a sense of what you've done and what you haven't done, which is really great. I'm going to click there. I'm going to unclick by clicking away or clicking on the pasteboard itself. Command Control D. Where are we? We haven't done this one. Crowd Surfer. Okay. And I might move it over to here. Command or Control D. And you know what you can also do, and you guys might not know this, and on your laptops it might look a little different, but I sometimes pull out by just hitting that little double parallel line at the bottom. You can see more of the actual name of the file. Click. That's another small one. I'm going to move it out of the way for a moment. Command Control D. Did we just do that one? This is a different one. They're a little bit similar, these two, I think. So they're both not that big. Command D. This one. Oh, maybe do we have two of those? Oh, they're very similar. They're just different sizes. Here we have Lizzo. Oops. Now sometimes, I don't know what just happened, but just hit Command Z and it'll load right back into your cursor. And there she is. Again, remember, you won't go any larger than what this is. Command Control D. The tent. Okay. And Command Control D again. And it's the last one. And it's the big band shot. Looks like it's big. See, it is big. Okay, so what we've done here is now we have figured out the sizes of these images. You cannot put any of these in any bigger. So in other words, you can make this smaller by going to Shift, Command, and pulling down the corner. So in other words, you're holding the Shift and the Command key together, and you can scale it down. You can't now scan it any bigger. If you do, so what you want to do is you can always check up in this control panel where we saw 100%, 100%. Now this one's at 66. That's okay. Smaller is okay. Bigger is not okay. So for instance, if, I know a lot of you really liked this picture when you submitted stuff, she can't go any bigger than that. If we make her bigger by just pulling it up bigger, and we click on the little donut with the cursor, see the donut in the middle? Now she's at 165%. Not okay. Absolutely not okay. So what you have to do is scale it back down, or what you can do, you know, in other words, you could go to Shift Command and scale it down, or even easier, it might be just go back and click on that little donut, change this number to 100, and it will automatically, if this link is visible, it will automatically tell you what the 100% size is. Now, I don't want to get too far ahead of us, but notice that with Lizzo, which I just did, the box is now much bigger. All you have to do is pull the box in, and again, you could crop it if you'd like. If you don't want to see, if you feel like it fits in your layout more like that, that's cool. You can just, but you want to have the image fill out your image frame. So I'm not going to tell you anything about how to design what you're designing. I want you to have fun with it. but just pay attention to the fact that you cannot go over 100% on any of the images. That's the whole point. So it might take a while. You might have to juggle some of these images around. I know when I did a sample, it took a while, you know, because you want to have something that's pleasing to you. And yes, you probably want her to be bigger, but she can't be, you know. So you can make her smaller. You can absolutely crop it for the best effect. Maybe it's best there where you can see people screaming for her. I don't know. You guys make that decision. Hopefully this makes sense. It should be fun. It should be easy. So really all you're doing, in summary, is you are sizing all those images to 300 pixels per inch. Then you're going to bring them in at 100% to InDesign, and you're going to do that by placing